All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 8. That is right, week number 8 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Austin, and what we are going to be doing today is a quick state of the course update. And after we do that state of the course update, I am going to tell you about some job resources, some key job resource databases, 3 things in particular, 2 databases, and then 1 website that you are going to want to use when you are helping people with vocational guidance and assignments about vocational endeavors and that sort of thing. Okay, so this check-in video, hopefully, I know we had a long one last week. This one should be about 25 minutes unsped, so that shouldn't be too long. It may inch up to 30 minutes unsped, but again, once you speed it up, then it's of course not going to be as long. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. I am recording this on October the 14th. So we've got a few of these that we've got to click out of, and we have the big thing is the Wikipedia edit assignment is going to be due this coming Sunday. So there's a little reminder there. I am sure that you all have been hard at work on those. And then what I'm going to do is next week, with the Wikipedia assignments being due this coming weekend, next week what I'm going to do is start creating, well, not start, I am going to create your LibApps logins next week so you all can get started on your LibGuides from there. Okay, and that is the big thing to know, or the 2 big things to know, is that this assignment is due Sunday and that you'll get your LibGuide login soon. Your final sync session isn't until November the 18th, so we're still over a month away from that. So yeah, not really too much to say about that. Continue working on your semester-long projects. I'm going to continue to try to get caught up with certain things like the grading the discussion board posts, but I do have a few things going on this week. I've got 2 writing deadlines of my own, and then I've also got a peer review that I've got to do for another LIS researcher for Public Library Quarterly, and that's due this week. So I've got some things on the horizon, but I have not forgotten about y'all. And again, I do want to get those grades caught up as soon as I can, and hopefully that will not be too much longer. But I think you all are doing great, and I continue to be very glad to have you in this course, and I'm looking forward to seeing those Wikipedia edits this coming weekend. So don't disappoint me, and I don't think y'all will. But also, I want you all to, again, clean up the APA if you had mistakes there. One thing that I want you all to get in the habit of doing, by the way, is not copying and pasting. So there might be things that are put into the class wrong on purpose, so that I know that you're not just copying and pasting. I know that you are actually looking and making sure that things are correct, because when you work in LIS, you do have to kind of look after and over things and make sure they are correct. You cannot just like I tell you, you cannot just copy and paste a sample citation from a database into a paper and expect it to be right, because there's a good chance it'll be wrong. Same thing with copying and pasting things from the class. I want you all to actually learn how to format. I don't want you all to be people who are over reliant on AI and not able to write a letter without using ChatGPT. Okay. All right. But I think you all are well on your way. And let's go ahead and talk about those job resources. Give me one moment. Okay, so first of all, just so you all are aware, let's go ahead and make this small here. The 2 things, I'm going to actually be accessing this from the public library because I don't believe that I'm not sure that Missouri still has Ferguson. So the things that we are going to be looking at today are Ferguson's Career Guidance Center, which you have right there. And then also we are going to be looking at, where is my Gale resource? There we go, Gale Vocations and Careers. So we're going to look at those 2 things. And then also we're going to go to a free over the internet site, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, bls.gov. We've had some issues. Again, I have to be careful about what I say in this class, but we've had some issues with a certain person at the federal level firing people because the Bureau of Labor Statistics didn't give the results that this person wanted. Higher education has lost its complete spine, so I'm not able to actually explicitly say what I want to say, but hopefully you all are getting getting it. But yeah, we've gotten to the point where freedom of speech is no longer a thing in higher ed. But yeah, so having said that, I still hope when the last times that I've been showing people BLS.gov, Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov, that was not an issue. So I didn't feel bad showing people that particular resource, but hopefully what's going on at the federal level right now won't make that resource irrelevant. That's what I'm hoping. All right, but anyway, let's go ahead and jump into some of these guys here. I am going to jump into Gale first because this one has more of an academic purpose. It's more so the purpose of this one is more so to help people write papers and that sort of thing. So if you have like college freshmen or high school students or people who are working on GEDs and they have to do some sort of like vocational essay talking about what they want to do with their lives after they finish school, this is the resource to direct them to, or at least one of the first resources to direct them to, because they will find plenty of journal articles, magazine articles, and newspaper articles about any particular type of career they may be pursuing. Let's go ahead, legal career that they might be pursuing. You're not going to find hitmen and assassins and things like that there. Okay, I'm going to put in my information. Hold on 1 minute. All right, and so once I put in my information, you are going to see this is what Gale 1 file looks like on its landing strip or landing page right here. And and I'm actually not even going to bother with these things here. I'm basically going to use your basic search because that really will help you navigate this website. You don't really have to use the advanced functions when using this particular database 99% of the time. Your basic search functions are usually going to get it done. But on your own, and this also allows me to not prolong the video too long. On your own, again, if you want to master the databases, this is not a tutorial. I am introducing you all to the databases and telling you when you would use them and that sort of thing. But this is, again, not an actual tutorial. If you want to find an actual tutorial so that you can learn how to use these search tools, then go ahead and do that. But again, I don't think I ever used these search tools in my professional practice. Everything that I needed to do was pretty much doable with the advanced search. So having said that, if you do the advanced search, and this one will default into a basic search, and a lot of times the basic search will actually get you what you need within this particular database, because usually what people are doing, and the reason why they don't necessarily need the advanced search is because usually what people are doing is they are just searching a particular career. So actually, let me go ahead and do that and see what happens. So if I put in dental hygienist, I don't want the association. There we go. All right, dental hygienist. And then we can search. And once we search, we are just brought here to a list of results. And using this database is very, very easy. So this is another reason why I would say that this is a database that you want to have in your toolkit if you ever need to, especially if you need to suggest something. Because I've seen students as young as elementary school have to do these vocational type of essays. And so if you're dealing with somebody that young, then especially, yes, you want to use a database like this that has a very, very low learning curve to it. So I can put in a term like dental hygienist, and then I would get these results. It defaults into magazines for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why, but it'll tell you the number of results that you're getting per source type. So I've got I've got nearly 2,000 magazines, about 3,000 journal articles, about 500 news items from newspapers and that sort of thing, and then a book, which that book wasn't there the last time I accessed this. They're adding things. Well, this is a pamphlet, and it's from 1990. So they are adding things, and they are adding old things. One thing that I want you all to also remember is that they don't always add new things to these databases, right? Sometimes they do go in and add old historical content, which people, a lot of times when they visit the library, that's another thing that they often need is old historical content. So there's nothing wrong with this database offering that sort of thing and making it available. But yes, let's go back into what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here. I would leave, when using this database, I would go ahead and leave the full text on. Now you don't necessarily have to, and as you'll see, oh, it didn't even go up that much. So yeah, I just got a slight increase on the number of journal articles, and that was pretty much it. original PDF you can do for that if you want to, but the full text, that's the thing. Like pretty much once you do full text, the full text is going to be right there. And it's going to be in HTML like most of the time. So this is like HTML full text. It's not the PDF full text, but that's fine. You have the full text there. And so, yeah, you just pull it up and that's where it is. And so you get all this information. And again, it's right here in the database. And again, like, one reason why I want you all to be aware that it's broken into source types like this is because a lot of times you are actually going to want to steer people in K-12 a lot of times, maybe not in high school, maybe in high school and maybe not in high school, but certainly in elementary and middle school, you're going to actually be steering your students away from the academic journals. They're just too much. You'll see, like if I click one of these, you'll see that they tend to have pretty high Lexile numbers. Let's see if it's even got my Lexile number on there. Okay, never mind. I don't want to make this video too long. Hold on for a second. Okay, well, I thought this database offered Lexile numbers, but I could definitely be mistaken here. I'm not saying them right now. But again, you get that full text. You get your same standard options of, you know, saving, downloading, printing, and putting into online cloud storage. You've got the Explorer, which I like. So when you do Explore, it'll recommend you similar articles or articles that are on a similar topic, and that allows you to kind of jump in and develop a source list pretty quickly. So that's always helpful. And then, well, yeah, that's the main thing. But I do want to also remind you that, yes, you're going to have those sample citations down here as well. And again, please know that there's a good chance that your sample citations are going to be wrong. You will, if you copy and paste the sample citation, you do need to check behind and make sure that it is correct. Okay. All right. That's pretty much all we need to do out of this database. And again, if you really want to master the database, then I would say just go ahead and go in there yourself. Look at some tutorials and then play around with it yourself so that you can master the features. All right. Let's go ahead and go to Ferguson's. All right, so the next thing that we're going to look at is going to be Ferguson. So let's go ahead and look at Ferguson's Career Guidance Center. We are going to move me over here, and we are actually not going to, again, we're not going to look at everything. I'm giving you an introduction and telling you when you're most likely to use this database. And one thing that I am going to say to you really quickly is that you will probably only really be using this for Explore Careers. If you use it for these other functions, then yes, that is great. But this again, this is why I included in the career guidance video that I do, check-in video that I do, is because this is really what you're going to be using this for. As far as these other things, I hate to say it because as librarians, a lot of times we really do want to focus on using our library resources that we pay for, our proprietary resources. But there are, when people are asking you to do things like help them find job openings and things like that, this is not where you want to come. Going to Monster or Indeed or just Googling is going to be better as far as finding job postings and apprenticeships and internships, just to be honest with you. Ferguson's does not do a good job in this area. And then when it comes to prepare for your career, I would just recommend books. Every library that I've been to has well, not every library that I've been to, but pretty much every public library and pretty much every academic library that I've been to has had plenty of resources for resume writing, cover letter writing, and then also these are, in addition to having books about these things, you can find wonderful cover letter stuff online, wonderful resume stuff online, and even I think that Word even has like a resume template now. I'm not sure, but I think it does. And then as far as interviewing and networking, those are some of the things that I would actually recommend that you get tips from coworkers, or if you don't have coworkers who can be accessible in that way, then reach out to your CISL professors and maybe one of them can make some time for you. And then as far as planning your education, school search and things like that, yeah, this is, it's got its uses. I'm going to visit it, but I'm not going to spend too much time in it. But what I am going to do is I am going to come back over here and look at these things. So especially the browse professions and research industries. I'm not going to go into the career assessment, but you all know what a career assessment is. you can go in there and take a test. There's a 60 question test and a 30 question test, and that will help you. That career assessment will help you determine where you should probably be working, and then find a career path. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time into this, but this is something that you basically have a few resources here that can help you just basically find out, again, what your aptitudes are and where you should be looking to find the career that is right for you, or if you are helping somebody, the career that is right for your patron. All right, let's go ahead first and look into the research industries. When you do that, when you click that, you will have a feature industries, and then you will have all industries. Feature industries will just be a select few, but these are popular ones that, especially when you're dealing with public libraries, these are going to be the things that a lot of people are coming into the public library to try to learn about. Because you do have a lot of people when they come to the public library and they are looking to get careers going. A lot of times, these are the things they are trying to get into. Travel and leisure. Some of these not so much, but yeah, some of the other ones. Travel and leisure, yes. Nursing, definitely. Teaching and teachers' aides, definitely. Public safety, whether that's law enforcement, or I've dealt with like paramedics and people who want to be on rescue squads as volunteers and that sort of thing. Yes. But then some of these other ones, I would say that you're not necessarily going to be dealing with people looking for guidance at the public library. For instance, computer software. If somebody is like a software engineer, or they're messing with software or that sort of thing, a lot of times they're not going to be coming into the public library looking for career guidance. The people who design software applications a lot of times are competent enough to where they don't need a librarian to assist them with finding that type of information. Okay, so yeah, just keep all of that in mind. So you've got these feature industries, and then I am going to click all industries here. And when you go into all industries, what you can do is you've got all industries. I'm sure it's not all industries like a world exhaustive list, but you know where we're going with this. And so yeah, let's find one and let's go ahead in there. I'm actually just gonna, for the sake of keeping it simple, I'm going to find my librarians. Where are we? Library and Information Services is an industry, so you can click that and get a little industry profile. And the industry profile does include, you will get you can view a full article if you want. So you can click this, view a full article, and then you've got everything. It does increase the amount of scrolling you have, but then you have all of these contents just in one link, which is how I like to do it. However, if you want to go piece by piece, you can start with overview, then go into background and that sort of thing and get all that little information. And yeah, you've got these options again: save, share, cite, so forth. But then you have the related professions, and this is a big deal. So let's say that you do have somebody who wants to go into library and information science, but they're not sure what the professions, the particular jobs that are out there for that. Well, this is a good place to look. You can go to related professions, click that, and then you will see these are some of the professions that they include within library and information science, and those include database specialists, library directors, children's librarians, law librarians, that sort of thing. So yes, and I would click one of these, but I'm just going to come back to it anyway. So I'm going to go now into the other piece. Let me see if I can get home. Is there a home? Hold on for a second. Okay, and so now that I am back home, I want to actually go to Browse Professions right here. This is the second piece that I'm going to show you all. They have featured professions, and the featured professions almost always also have like a little helpful video, interview, that sort of thing. In fact, I think they all, no, they don't all. But a lot of times they do. So if you see this play thing, then that is one with a helpful little video and that sort of thing. But you get all professions here. There are a total of about 1,200 professions that they have. If you see this little icon, then that means they include video. You can click this L, and we are going to go to librarian this time. So we'll go to librarians. And there are certain things. Once you get here, you can do the view full article again. But there are certain things that you're going to want to see, especially in the overview. What I love is that they have this very helpful information here right in the overview. So, and these are the things that people typically want to know: median salary, what type of education am I going to need, what are my duties, what is the outlook. As far as outlook, that means the availability of jobs and that sort of thing. Outlook within librarianship, about as fast as average. So our field is growing about as fast as most other fields, or the average field typically is. Employment prospects are very good, and advancement prospects are very good, and this is the career ladder. You can start out. I actually started out as a librarian, and a lot of times if you get your first library job with having the degree, then you are going to start out as a librarian and leapfrog the library assistant and library technician things, and then you can go into director, consultant, manager, that sort of thing. But even as you go down the table of contents here, history, the job, and you can get a lot more information, especially, and again, I love having the Outlook information because people want to, and right here, this is good information. Through 2033, about 13,000 job openings will be available on an annual basis. This is the type of thing that people need to know. They don't want to go into the types of jobs that are not going to have the career prospects, okay? So you want to be familiar with how to find out the outlook of certain careers, and this is one of the databases that can show you how. It's my preferred database for learning about job outlook for different professions. Okay, let's go into one final thing here, and then we're going to go to bls.gov. Give me one moment. All right, so I'm going to go into the search, the school search really quickly just to show you all what's going on there. And then, yeah, if you want to get into distance learning, financial aid, I would just recommend that you talk to a financial aid counselor, to be quite honest with you, because financial aid is its own thing. So you can do the school search, and we've got 4,000 undergraduate institutions listed. We've got graduate, and then we've got vocational and technical. But this, I'm going to show you just really quickly how this all works. I'm actually going to try to find my own school, so you can go to location. I'm going to go south, and I am going to go to North Carolina. And so we've got all of these things. Oh boy. Okay. I'm going to pause. Hold on. Okay. So I'm going to go into the school where I got my not my undergrad, where I actually got my MLIS, even though I'm under the undergrad thing, I'm still going to go in here. So, I got my, master's in library science from North Carolina Central University. And when you click here, again, you get your overview, and then you get table of contents, campus life, that sort of thing. But you get some helpful information here too, including tuition information, enrollment information, endowment, on-campus housing. No, there is on-campus housing. So one thing I'll say is that things just aren't always accurate, unfortunately. There is on-campus housing at North Carolina Central. They have dorms. I stayed with a friend in one of the dorms. You have a list of majors. Have all these things. I was hoping that there would be racial information because some people do want that. But, okay, well, you've got this information, okay? I was quite certain that there was also going to be some information about ethnicity, but maybe due to the Supreme Court decision that colleges aren't allowed to consider ethnicity when making determinations anymore, maybe that's why that isn't there. So that's what I'm going to assume. But anyway, so you can get this type of rundown information as well, and you can even you can get this type of rundown information. And so this is a good way to kind of just learn a little bit about these schools and that sort of thing. So there you have it there. And again, I hope you all caught that in addition to undergraduate and graduate, they did have vocational and technical. So that's something important to know as well. All right, let's go ahead and look at bls.gov. I'll spend maybe 5 minutes in that, so we should still be under 30, but we're not under 25. I'm sorry. All right, and so finally, this is bls.gov. This is free over the web. You can access this anywhere. Again, I'm a little skittish about recommending this particular resource because, again, somebody was removed a few weeks ago by somebody in charge at the federal level. And so I do hope that the information that is coming out of this website will continue to be good, high quality information. But what I will also say is that this is there is a ton of information. Like, you would really need to find a tutorial in order to learn how to use BLS.gov. There is a ton of information in it. And so in a lot of the information that you just saw on Ferguson's, you will also see in BLS.gov, but it's just easier to locate in Ferguson's, and that's why I teach Ferguson's, okay? So I want you all to be aware of that. All right, so again, there is a ton, and I do mean a ton of information on this website, but for the purposes, again, also for the purposes of keeping this video manageably long, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on one particular publication, and again, it's keeping in the theme with what I'm talking about with this particular check-in video. So what you can do once you go to bls.gov, you can come to publications, and the publication that you are going to want the most when you are helping people with, again, Occupational Outlook is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. All right. Yeah, spoiler alert there, huh? Okay, so yeah, once you do that, and you can see like a featured occupation here and that sort of thing, but you can search the handbook. So, and that's the easiest thing to do. You've got the index and you've got Occupation Finder and things like that. And if you want, again, if you want to find out how to use those things in your own time, I do recommend that you do that. More knowledge is better than less knowledge, but again, just know that for the purposes of this video, it would be too long if I tried to go into all that. So I'm just going to do the lazy basic search, okay? And I am just going to put in librarian and go. And you're going to see that this looks very similar to what you saw in Ferguson's, but again, the information is harder to find here, but there's a lot more information here. Okay, so once we find that, librarians and media specialists, we can go to that page from the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and this is what we end up with. Pretty much the same thing. So you get this information at a glance, the summary information, including 2024 median pay. So we've got very recent information there, type of education you need, work experience in a related profession, needed, none, on the job training. Actually, I disagree with this, but the thing is, there's not one size that fits all there. You're just going to get trained on the job as a librarian, and whether or not your training is formal or informal, and whether or not it is 1 month or 1 year, all of that is going to vary, okay? And that is exactly why the virtual reference practice paper was set up the way that it was. All right, so you've got this summary information, and then also you can go to the next chapter. So you see what they do is the next tab here. You can scroll down from there. You can click these if you need to. We're not going to do that right now, but then you can go into what they do, scroll down, look at all that information, and keep going. Work environment, that'll take you to that tab, and then how to become one. That is always the big one that people want to know, and so forth and so on. Okay, so I think you all get the gist of that, and don't really need to go too much further into that. So I am actually going to leave it right there so that we do keep this under 30 minutes. I am Dr. Jace, and yes, we do have some librarians that are retiring, and we will need to replace. Jace replace. I got my rhyme. I can go to sleep. I am very thankful to have you all, and I will see you all next week with another check-in video, this one about LibGuides. Stay tuned.